It's me, Shade Camille, and I am back with another episode of the From Her View podcast. Are you ready? Are you excited? Are you wanting more? If you can see by the title, obviously we're doing another audio banger series. One of the things that I hold near and dear to my heart because I love a good book. But as I was speaking on last week's episode, really just kind of talking about taking a step back, evaluating yourself where you're at right now, and really taking some self-assessment and seeing like what you need to do and how you need to move differently in the future. Like, what are you doing that is working? What are you doing that is not working? And that is something that I have to constantly go back and forth with. Just a part of elevating. If you are not trying to elevate in your life, you're going to continue to just, baby, just do what you continue to do what you're doing. If you're not trying to seek opportunities or better yourself or advance in a way for your future. If that's something that doesn't interest you, if that's something that you don't have a high regard for, this is not for you. But on today's episode, we're going to be talking about a book that is a very classic book. I can't tell you how long it's been around. It's one of those books. Honestly, could just Google it. My favorite friend, Googleisha. And find out from her. Okay, so this book was made in 1926, but obviously these are parables and the story is set 4,000 years before that. So the book that we're going to be talking about is The Richest Man in Babylon. So you may or you may not have heard about it, and I'm going to let you know what it is. So The Richest Man in Babylon is like a fictional book, but it's all about financial advice based on real life principles and timeless wisdom. And what I like about it is it's something that transcends. So it does take place in Babylon, during like the times of Jesus and everything like that. But those same principles, those same steps can be used now. Why are we talking about this? Like, why is this important? Why is this relevant? Why is this something that I need to know? Well, you need to know this because it's actually a nice compass for where you should start on your journey of financial freedom or financial learnings, or just really getting yourself there. So the reason why I'm referring back to this book is I've read it before, and read it. It was information, whatever. And I didn't put any action towards anything when I was listening to it. I was just like, oh, that's a good book, because it was one of those things that someone that I follow or a different podcaster or someone like that recommended the book, and I was just like, okay, like I have that habit where I'm like, okay, let me just throw it in the cart and I'm going to read it. So it's definitely one of those situations where I was just like, oh, I'm just going to throw it in the cart and I'm going to read it. And I did, but there's a difference between listening and hearing, right? It's like, I heard you. I know that you were saying something. I know that you were speaking. I can hear, but I wasn't listening, meaning I didn't digest that information for understanding. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So within the book, there are 7 principles, and I like the way that they worded it because they call it the 7 curses of a lean purse. So they're like the 7 curses of a brokey. You know what I'm saying? So ain't nobody trying to be no brokey. I mean, and this goes for because it's one of those things, where people are like, okay, well, this is the richest man in Babylon. Okay, I'm a woman, whatever the case may be. I think that it is important, no matter what gender you are, to be financially sound or to be aware that you are not financially sound. I used to be a person that was not financially sound. Like, I could make money. I can make money all day long, baby. Had zero problems making a bag. My issue was keeping it. What strategy should I be putting in place to keeping my money? And that was just keeping it. We're going to talk about some other things where, like, your money can have babies. Like, my, my money could be out here getting pregnant, having more monies. That was something that I kind of was just like, what? I'm just trying to save to do this. I'm just trying to save to buy that. I'm just trying to save, whatever. Just saving just to hold on to it and not giving my finances purposes in missions and jobs. One of the things that is said time and time again is, the love of money. Money is a tool. Okay. And if you love it, it will forsake you every time. But if you are the master of your monies, that's the relationship that it's meant to be. So let's go over these 7 curses of a lean purse, child. So for the 7 curses, we're going to start by his first one, which is something that I was not doing. I tithe, but I wasn't doing this. So he was saying, start thy purse to fattening. You want to save money, ideally 10% of your income. So you want to get into the habit of saving 10% of your income every time you get paid. So hopefully you at least know budgeting. If you don't know budgeting, I do have some books that I could recommend for that, or just do an audio banger review on them, on the person and all the tools and everything like that. But that would be step 1. So for me, I never once thought like, hey, I should be paying myself. I should be putting 10% away. I'm giving 10% to God. I should be putting 10% away for myself. Just, and not touch it and just let it accumulate over time. So if something does arise, if there's something that I need, that money is there. So another way that you could think about it is, if you ever have heard of Dave Ramsey, he's a great financial person. I personally like the Budget Mom because she kind of is like, she kind of makes things practical, but then she also does take some of his principles too. So for him, he's like, you need an emergency fund. Whereas in this book, they're talking about saving that 10%. So for him, he's like, you need to at least start your emergency fund, because he has like different steps. And that's something that we could talk about, too. But he has different steps. And so with his, one of the steps, I think it's like step 3 or something like that. It's in one of the steps. And it is save $1,000 for an emergency fund. So you could take that same ideology and use it towards this, where it would be, okay, well, I'm saving 10% of my income to accumulate $1,000 for my emergency fund. But you have to be very specific with what you're giving the names to these things, because that's the purpose that they're going to have. Now, it's not to say that, like, I budget for gas, I budget for groceries, right? Like, they have jobs. They, I like to say that they are going to the graveyard, right? Because they're paying for things that are not going to give me an immediate any type of return. Now, if I budget well, where I have a good, like, I come under what I budget for, then I can take that excess and then I could put it towards saving. But that first principle is saving 10% of your income. Now, that ties into the next one, which I was just leading with, that is avoid spending more than you need, and lifestyle inflation. One of the things that I struggle with real bad, girl, real bad, is I love things. Do you hear me? I love me some things. Not like the love of things like, oh, I gotta have this thing, but like aesthetically, I like the way things look. Clearly, I like the aesthetics of how some things look, and honestly, this journey of knowledge did not even happen for myself until um I got divorced. But me knowing like straight away, like, hey, like I like shopping. And it wasn't even like shopping for me, it would be like shopping for my kids. Like we stayed at a mall. Child, we stayed at a mall. I had a part-time job and that was like shoe money. Okay. I'm making as much money on my part-time job working like let's just say 3 days in a pay period, right? My part-time job, I'm making as much money as some people make 5 days a week at their full-time job, right? And I'm just over here just like, oh, I want to buy this outfit, or oh, I'm going to this concert, or oh, let's go to Great Wolf Lodge. Let's get season passes to Six Flags. Let's just do this, this. And I am here to say, there's nothing wrong with that. But it was frivolously spending money and not making the things that I say I want align with my actions. And so that's something that's like super huge for me. Anybody can tell you anything. They can tell you absolutely anything. I can tell you, if I stand up, I'm shaped like Serena Williams. I could tell you that, right? But when I get up and you see my fupa, you're gonna be like, girl, you don't got Serena bod. You got Serena potential. You don't got the Serena bod. And that's how I was living. I was saying that, okay, I want a house. I want to make sure that like, I have this, I have that. But I had no discipline in those areas to get these things. And that's where when God says my people perish from the lack of knowledge, baby, this is the lack of knowledge. This is where you perish from, is not knowing these things. So luckily I'm at a point, have my real estate license. I really need to be actively using that thing. But I have a host of licenses, other things that I'm trying to pursue, talked about before, trying to get my CDL, one test away. Pray for me, guys, like one test away. But with all that being said, I couldn't keep the coin. So like now, I spend so much of my time working a part-time job, taking time away from my kids, doing it in a habitual, cycle, and still coming up short every single month, every single time, and just not having what I need. So this is where, this book will apply to you in coming to say, hey, you really need that lifestyle inflation is crazy. So with the next one, it is invest wisely and take advantage of opportunities. So for myself, back in 2020, I started watching, I knew about Earn Your Leisure, but I really wasn't like, oh, like, who are these guys? Like, whatever, I'm not watching this. I like watching ET, Hip Hop Preacher, Secret to Success podcast. Like I like watching that, which was all about motivation, mindset, and everything like that, which is important. But it didn't take me in this headspace of I have this mindset, I have this motivation, and I need to put the blinders on for this area. It wasn't giving that. It wasn't telling me, you need to do this. Now they're into that now because they have different people in their circle. And so now they can say, hey, real estate is an avenue. Hey, investing in this is an avenue. Hey, doing this is an avenue. Being a solo creator, like what I'm doing right now, is an avenue. They didn't have language for that when I was like listening to them heavy, which was in like 2000, I want to say 16, 17. So fast forward, it's 2020. And I hear about these guys, and they were talking about investing. So I knew about investing, and I'm going to keep it a buck, a whole stack. And it's something that I tell my kids right now. Like, it's one of those things where I I thank God that I'm so in touch with every version of Sade. I am in touch with every version of her, and it's important. It's important because I can relate to every person that I meet because I am still very much in tune with those feelings, those emotions, and what it felt like when I was being processed, right? So I was telling my kids, I was like, look, I get it, right? Your hormones is rushing, you feeling some type of way. If you're a girl, you're like, am I pretty? If you're a boy, you're like, am I even attractive? Is the girls checking for me? Like, like that's what you're on. But what sucks is that you're at good schools that's really trying to give you some good information that other people are not getting, and it's going over your head. So with that being said, they were teaching me about stocks when I was in high school, baby. They had us signed up on E-Trader, had fake money, and was like, okay, invest the money in stocks. Like literally teaching us, girl. And I was not paying attention. You know what I was doing? I was worried about we're not going to disrespect that man. But anyway, I was too worried about my baby's father and not about information that could have completely changed my life. And so I tell my kids that story. So my son had the class his freshman year in high school. I didn't have this class till I was like a junior, senior in high school. So he's got it his freshman year, and he's like, yeah, like now I understand how to read charts now. And so it's like, okay, like we're in position. So I know a little something, something. You know how to read the charts, which is like fundamentals that you need to know. And so that sets our family up for success in this area of investing. So there's, me and him would like watch Market Mondays together and listen and everything like that. And I tell him, like what I got in the portfolio, the things that, I'm going to purchase. And I still have my portfolio. I haven't put money in it. That's so horrible. That was the whole reason for, me rereading this book is that I got a little wayward in the things that I said that I wanted, getting distracted. And so now I'm just like blinders on, like blinders on. No longer am I bending it like Beckham to be in places and spaces for other people. I gotta bend it like Beckham for my goals. And if I can fit you in, I'm gonna fit you in. That's just what it is, and I'm not going to make any reservations or excuses about it, because at the end of the day, if you wanted to, you would. Okay, and that's the energy that I'm giving. That's a philosophy that it honestly, it's so simplistic yet prolific. If you wanted to, you would. Like right now on my fitness journey, if I wanted to be disciplined in this fitness journey, I could. If I wanted to. If I wanted to be disciplined, I could. If I make excuses for myself, I'm not. That's just it. And it's one of those things where I'm like, hey, my money needs to have kids. Okay, so you have to, and this is a great book, but it's also personal to you. So you need to kind of have some self-awareness of what's going on in your life right now. Like, baby, you need to know. So like for me, I was like, okay, my full-time job is pretty much just enough to really cover the operational expenses. So operational expenses to me is the things that keep me running. So it's enough to cover my gas, my groceries, my bills, incidentals here and there, but nothing of true excess. So nothing of true excess for me to get the moving, the shaking, and the things that I want to do. So obviously, you know, I love the podcast. I want to be more disciplined in the area of the podcast. But then I also have these things that I need to do, right? And so I pray to God, um, and I ask for wisdom, I ask for discipline, I ask for all these things, and He will give these things to you if you ask for them. But when it comes to put the pedal to the metal, baby, it's not always sunshines and rainbows. It's not always sunshines and rainbow. And you know what? After reading, David Goggins' books, it's like, baby, I'm here. Like, I'm ready for it. What can make it hurt worse? I've been through worse things. I literally had some guy ask me, he was like, oh, like, it's thundering. Like, this was like, on some like dating app. And he's like, oh, it's thundering and I'm scared of thunder, and I'm like, oh, LOL. And he's like, what are you scared of? Like snakes and spiders? And I was like, I've been through so many things in my life. I ain't really scared of nothing. I've had so many losses where like the things that would bring fear in you, I faced them already. And it's one of those things where I'm just like, I don't have that. I don't have that same fear. You know what I'm saying? It's just there's not a whole lot of things I'm going to let um scare me at this point in my life. Like, girl, I done had brain surgery. I've been in some near death experiences. I've been in, I've me personally, I've experienced some things where I'm just like, God, you kept me alive for a reason. And I may not fully know what it is, but whatever you say do, I'm gonna do. So this is where we're at. Um, but investing wisely. So take the time, and you're probably going to have to learn a new skill. You're probably going to have to do something different. Um, and then the next one, they kind of goes hand in hand, but avoid investments that sound too good to be true and don't invest in things that you're not familiar with. So for me, it might be unpopular, but I don't care. This is from her view, and her is me, and I'm just going to tell you how I feel. One of those things that I kind of feel are like that is like scratch offs. Like, oh, I'm gonna do the Mega Millions and da da da. If you budget for it, like that's your business. Um, I just don't ever foresee myself doing it because I'm thinking, like, knowing what I know now, it's like I could take that $10, $15, $20, buy a fractional share in the stock, and it makes me money, like money, or put it in a dividend earning stock, and I'm making money. That's the play for me, is putting the money in the account, investing it, but investing it in dividend yielding stocks, just so I can actually get that money. I'm earning money from the stock performance, but then I'm also earning money from the stock performance, meaning, a little bonus payout or a little dividends, baby. So I do have a couple of those that do pay me dividends, and I just like reinvest it into, you know, in there, which, the more I invest in dividend yielding stocks, the more dividends I get back, the more I can kind of multiply my money. I'm getting money for investing money. It's like that is a real thing. That is a true thing. So next we have, um, I like the way that they say it because they do say like houses in the book, but it's make thy dwelling a profitable investment. So it basically means to own your own home and consider putting at least 20% down and keeping your monthly payment under 25% of your take home pay. So this is something that all those couple other steps I got. This one is one that I'm currently working on. I want to say I may or may not have done an episode about it, but I I will. I'm going through a certain loan process where everything is kind of pre-approved. I have a good bearings of what I will and what I won't be able to qualify for, and I'm really excited about that. But there's also some other things that I need to take into consideration. So they're saying essentially own your home and make sure that that money that your monthly payment is 25% of your take home pay. So they're like, not 50, not 75, not pushing it. Because girl, I'm at a point where my full time job alone is like pushing it, as far as what you can afford comfortably. So the next one is going to be ensure a future income. So protect yourself with life insurance. I have had a life insurance policy. Honestly, like my mom had life insurance policies on me and my siblings, but I've had life insurance policies ever since I was about 25, of my own for me, my kids. It's very important. It is a tool that you can use for the future. There are some of them that you can use as basically essentially like a savings account, like a high yield savings account, because you do kind of get that money that it's whatever it's worth. Um, After like some of them are like after 20 years or after 30 years or whatever the case may be. That would be something that you would talk to an insurance agent about. I am not one. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not that. And then we have our last one, which is improve that ability to earn. So strive to become wiser and more knowledgeable. And that is something that I never will stop doing. Like, I will never stop learning. I'll never stop making strides towards understanding money or understanding the spaces and places or understanding how people with wealth, how they move and how they keep that wealth. One of the books that I really want to get, which I'm gonna definitely have to get it and do an audio banker about, is about Rockefeller's trust. How he has this trust just set up so ironclad, so intricate, um, where his family is going to succeed, like no matter what. And that's a legacy that I want to give to my children, to my children's children, to my children's children's children, and so on and so forth, and everything like that. Like, I want them to be able to find this episode and being like, our grandma was fine. She is. But also, she sacrificed in this time of her life so we could have the opportunity to succeed and be self-reliant entity, which is our family unit, which is super important in the end. If you can have your family set up in a way where you are a self-contained unit, where you know people don't have to go get loans at traditional banks. Your family is a bank, your trust is a bank, and you have your board of trustees. And they're like, oh, you need how much money for a house? Okay, cool. Where's this house going to be at? Okay, da da da. Or where it's set up to these people are employed by the family, where it's set up like that, like JP Morgan Chase, the Waltons with Walmart. Like, you want to put your family in a position to never worry again. And that's a conversation that I have with my kids very often now. And, we talk about um, the conversation is okay. I'm really like my end all be all goal. Like, one of my main things that I really want to attack is being a realtor full time and doing a lot of real estate investing. And my daughter was like, "Oh, like I don't know how I feel about that." And I was like, "Look, girl, this is the thing that's going to pay for you to do whatever you want to do. This is the vehicle that's going to pay for you to do whatever you want to do. you may have zero interest in it. I really didn't have an interest in it. Like hair, makeup, beauty, cosmetology, like that's my passion. That's what I love. Like that's what I enjoy doing. But I understood that those spaces and places will keep you trading your time for money. Where there's people out there making huge transactions of money off of conversation. You know what I'm saying? Off of conversation, off of viewing the home. Um, it, things that we can't even, you know, wrap our minds around if we have such a singular view of what that looks like. And, one of the main things that I wanted to do with this podcast is let it be a love letter of information to my children, but also to like my children's children and also to whoever is listening. These are things that we are not taught. These are things that as a society they think that it's up to our parents to teach us this information. But sometimes our parents don't know this information, or sometimes our parents don't think enough of this information to feel like they need to teach you. Like my mom didn't teach me about life insurance or anything like that, but I knew that we had it. I knew that she paid for it. She didn't teach me about budgeting, but I knew that she did it. Just the way she was doing it didn't work for me. But it's things that I know that, I knew that she did it. I knew how she, could finagle this, do a little bit of that, make some things happen. Like I know how to do the razzle dazzle with little to nothing. I know how to do that, but now it's me taking that not mentality, but that skill set, that knowledge, flipping it, pivoting it, and being able to use it for a time. So like right now, I'm working a part-time job for a time. And it's going to put me in a position to stack a good amount of money where I can be a little bit more aggressive with my investing, be aggressive with my savings, pay myself from that income, and do the things that I need to do as it relates to my goals and where I'm trying to be. There might be some things that change here and there. The location that I live may change. My job may change. I might be able to, get into driving before the end of the summer. Like something like that could happen, but I have to mentally be prepared to work the plan. I have to know the plan. I have to ruminate on the plan. I have to recite the plan. And books like this is what's going to help you birth your plan. Because this is giving you a blueprint on how not to be broke. Cool. We got the no brokey blueprint. That's great. But you have to have a specific reason of why you don't want to be a brokey. Okay? So, your specific reason on why you don't want to be a brokey is specific to you. It's not the same for me. I mean, we can all admit that, hey, we don't want to be broke, we don't want to be poor, we don't want to be homeless, we want to be able to provide for our family and eat and everything like that. And some people are content with that. And then you have people like me who is like, okay, I want an empire. I want to be able to employ people. I want to be able to educate people. I want to be able to help people, like all this information that I amassed into the memory banks that is my brain to help other people. That's a passion that I have, and that's something that I want to do. And the best proof is working my plan and saying, hey, this is working, this is not working. Because guess what? I tried part-time jobs at other places, and I was like, yeah, this is not working. I tried part-time, but I was like, yeah, this one is not working. And then now I finally found one where I'm like, okay, perfect. Like, this is great. The pay is on par. It's great. If I'm going to exchange my time for money, let it be good. Okay, is my sleep schedule being heavily affected? It ain't. Bomb. Am I still able to go to the gym 4 times a week like I want to? Yes. Bomb. Am I still able to spend time with my kids? Yes. Bomb. I still have my set time of prayer with the Lord? Yes. Bomb. Can I still talk to my boo when I want to? Bomb. Are we still, um, growing, learning each other, making it's me making time for the things that I deem important to me. And that's all very specific to me. I need to give my goals deadlines and endpoints and stuff like that. But I also need to schedule time like revisiting these things. And so books like The Richest Man in Babylon is really going to help you understand the mentality that you need to have to win. If from her view is nothing else, it's a little snippets of me spewing the gems of mentality that I need to win. And that's what I'm trying to do, is win. And this isn't like, oh, I'm in competition with so and so or this person or that person. And it's like, at the end of the day, I'm only in competition with the last version of Sade. And the last version of Sade, we just talked about it last week. Like, she was in a rut, stuck in a rut. This version of Sade is like, okay, being stuck and in a rut is going to happen. What Mike Tyson say? Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the face. But if I know I'm going to get punched in the face, how am I going to recover? What am I going to do to set myself up for success in a better way? So I said, okay, hey, I'm going to be working a part-time job. How do I set myself up for success that I can do this long term? Almost like um, a jog versus full blast running. How am I going to do this in a way where I'm not going to get burnt out? Because that's my problem. History has dictated I go full force, full blast, and then I get gassed. Okay? And I absolutely lose it. I ain't got no energy. I can't do anything. And what happens? Everything suffers. All my progress goes down. And that's with any and everything. And so I have to put myself in the hot seat and say, girl, why do you burn out? Okay, you burn out because you over budgeted your time. Okay, stop over budgeting your time. Okay, stop double booking yourself. So I have it set up where I'm not double booked. I'm not doing 2 jobs in one day. I have it set up where I'm still able to do my 1.5 to 2 hour gym sessions. Still have time to see my kids, make memories with them, talk with them, be there for them, take them here, there, and everywhere they want to go. I also understand taking time. And I think that, oh, it's not I think, I know. I was one of those people who are like, well, I really don't want to take the day off because I feel like I'm inconvenienced. At the end of the day, that place is still going to be there with or without you. Okay? The only place that's really going to take a loss if you're not there is the people that love you the most. Those are the people that are going to lose. So if I know that the people that are going to lose are the people that love me, the people that enjoy hearing my voice, the people that get excited when they see me, the people that, um, you know, call my phone, those are the people that matter to me. Never a job, never a place. It's the people that will remember me. Who will they remember me as? Who will they remember me? Um, doing. And that's important. I don't want my kids to remember me, working hard constantly and not being there for them, because I did that when they were little. Okay, I was working and telling them, hey, I'm working like this so we can get a house. And we never got the house in the time that I thought we were going to get the house. Like right now, I'm talking to you from my apartment. Okay, still ain't got that house yet. Um, but it's something that I will tell them once I get them keys, guys. I was working hard to get you this house. Okay, to get you this house. And my kids can stay there for as long as they want. Because that's another thing to build wealth. Let your kids stay there as long. It's called group economics. Let your kids stay for as long as they need to stay. Because why else do they need to, move out? Hey, we can go on and on about it in truth, honestly. But I really wanted to touch on The Richest Man in Babylon, another audio banger. I definitely recommend. Um, and it was so good because I have got a bunch of books around the same time as I got this one, and I'm just like, dang, like I really need to get those listens again and do an audio banger episode on them because they're just so good. I have some books I'm like, dang, I didn't finish that book yet. I need to get back to that. But we have survived 1,000% of the things that were sent to break us. We are here. We are bruised, but we ain't broken. And so that means that we can face tomorrow full force, head held high, and ready to slay the day. This has been another episode from Her View Podcast with me, Sade Camille. Like, share, subscribe, and bye. See you next time.